So now basically I'll do exactly the same thing for the elevation. So we already have the line weights, and I got the swatches. I use the swatches, and basically we are going to look into this. Since we don't have any fill here because there's no section, it's just an elevation, so we just basically need to control the lines. So I selected, that's how we see it, but of course they are white, as you can see here on the stroke. Again, on the stroke, you can change the color either by using the eyedropper, and that's what I'm going to do here. Obviously, the eyedropper here didn't offer the right thickness of my lines, so I'm going to use thin lines. And again, it's up to you to what kind of a line you want to use. I like to use this kind of element, but if you feel it's too faint, perhaps use a 0.5 and place with it and see what fits better, especially when the image comes in. So again, be aware which kind of layer it is in your element, and that then we'll start bringing in the new element, the image, which is on the lower part, right? So we don't need to place anything else. I'm still going to use the previous stroke. I'm happy with the thinner lines, but again, it depends on the drawing itself. Lock that layer, and subsequently I'm going to bring in something to the same view from Rhino, and that's what we'll do now. We go top view, click here, put ghosted. It will consume less computational power, or GPU power in this case. I go here, do the same thing, go to Arctic, select the view, press view, or use a capture. The command is view capture to file. It will ask you what view you want to go. You can change from here even if it is not once, but obviously I didn't turn it on, so I'm going to use the front one. Again, the size, it's the size of the viewport. As you see, it's already more than enough. What we don't want to have is pixels. Press apply and so elevation. And use a JPEG. Press save. We already have one, yes, from the previous file. I'll just put in a score. Press save. And go back to Illustrator. And in layer 6, being active, go File, Place, and use the elevation underscore JPEG and place it here. So you transform, scale it, let's say 30%, and drag it. So obviously it's already under that element, so I already know that's a 30% scale, and so it's good to, or close to it. Actually it's not, but very close to it. So I'm going to just make it line up with the image, and so it's around that element. So this gives you already a good sense. Still is getting a bit outside, and now it's pretty correct. Now there's one thing missing here that's very important, and I want you to be very aware of that. It's the ground line. So we do have to have that ground line, and we can use a rectangle tool or a thick line if you want. We can go use the pen tool and start from here to here, press shift to get an orthogonal line, and on that pen tool then you can address what kind of color do you want. In this case I'm going to use the same color, but you can actually use a thicker line in order to represent the ground line. Again, be aware that the line occupies that element, so it needs to be placed correctly. Okay, so there you go, and I would center that to the model. And again, since this is on this layer, actually it's a line layer, so I'm going to pass it to a top layer here, so this one. Like this, you never run the risk of going back behind the image or anything like that. All right, and yeah, so and finally, so now what we'll do again is going to be a section out of that's going to be in this area. So let's take also the swatches, and I also want to take actually this line, perhaps all of these, Control C, Control V, and drag them and line it. Yep. And we're prepared, and then the next one is going to be placed here. So now in Rhino, the same thing we go, and in order to make a section is exactly the same thing. We use, instead of using the clipping plane, we will use the clipping plane. So we go to ghosted, and in this case now I have I'll create another clipping plane, and I'm going to use this section, so the long one, the longitudinal one. And again, you know, the command is clipping plane. You frame your object, and again it starts moving around. So I'm going to disable the top clipping plane, so I'm going to make it visible now. Actually, let's show everything. Show objects. So I'm using already the layer. All right. So I'm going to select that one, and I want to see to this stop making. I'll leave the clipping plane. I won't touch it, but I'll make it. I'll disable it basically, and I'll enable this one now. So the same thing. You go to the Properties Manager. Inside of the Properties Manager menu, there's this image, and you can enable it. So we want in the front view, yes, and the perspective for guidance only. Further ahead, you can actually also, you can actually also use it as a tool. So I'm going to use here, where you can start seeing the curvature of your design, as well as intersecting the openings and seeing the background opening. So that's what's critical about this design. I'm going to put it again, select this, frame it, and put it in the, again, go to the properties and put in the clip layer. All right, so what I do next is go to Make 2D and select this plane. Actually, I'm going to hide the planes again. So there you go, and we'll basically make it 2D out of this Make 2D. And in this case, I'm not going to select all the images. I'm just going to select objects. Here we go. Press Enter. And I'm just going to use the front view. I'm not going to use the first angle projection. I'm just going to use this one because it's the last one missing. You can always alternate, add views, put the left view and the back view, and also extract it again. So again, turn on the clipping plane intersections, group the output, press apply, and I'll put another layer. So this is the first one, this is going to be the second one. Press apply, and this one should be faster because it's only one drawing. And it's producing the drawing. So while we produce the drawing, then the same thing will happen. There you go. Cancel, it's all good. And now what I won't forget, like I did the last time, is to actually I'm going to hatch immediately the drawing. I shouldn't forget it because I find it again easier to to hatch here and use it as a zoom selected. Okay, Control zoom select. Okay, this one, and the zoom selected like this, it will focus on what you want to do. Hatch. Curves to hatch. I'll select everything. You can start deleting curves if you want here in Rhino as well, but I'll select all of them, paint them, press enter, click on the regions, 1, 2, 3, and again, there you go. And obviously you need to know which is the line that's in, it's the interior one actually, so the external one is not part of it, so select that one as well. So now we have the full hatch will come as a solid to Illustrator. Press OK. I select the solid. You can select other ones if you want. Press OK. Again, depends on the same. So I have the drawing ready, and now I'm just ready to export. File, export selected, section, and underscore because I already have a previous one. AI, Illustrator, export. It will ask you for some, again, do you want to follow this? I want to order layers, press export. So that should be done. And now we go back to Illustrator, File, Place, and should be section AI underscore, there you go. Oh, I wonder why. Okay, File, Open. Sometimes if it gives you the error, you can always go File, Open and copy paste from the new file. Open File. It will open a new file here. Again, you press Ctrl C and you bring it back to the original file. Ctrl V, and hopefully it will be the same scale, but we'll go and check that up. So again, if this layer needs to be covered because you want to edit those, so we'll lock this layer and this one, and then we can play around with the rest, I believe. Actually, no. Yep, so this one is on that, but yeah, so that's the problem on having these ones. Actually, what I wanted to have this to be on the front of everything, and so let's put this one for a moment, put it there and lock it, otherwise it doesn't move, and lock it again. Now I can select this. So now you can edit the lines again. Obviously what you want to do here, for example, this is again, if you select it, this is the fill. So you can just go with the color picker here, and then you get that connection, that color or the characteristics in this case, and at the moment, since we have the hatch here, let's try to put it in another layer and close it or hide it and select the rest and play. Now it's only line weights. As you can see, the stroke is asking what kind of information, because you have too many line weights and line colors. So basically either you double click on this, or if you want, go to the color picker and select this. So now we have all the lines already. I put it, and I'm going to use again the stroke, going to a thinner line, and turn on the layer of the. Okay, so we are happy now, and now it's basically the same thing, bringing in the back layer. So here, the background image to give that kind of evocative volumetric shading to your drawing, and basically just go here again. I don't know if I already did it. Maybe I did. So go to front view, Arctic, and view, capture to file. Again, it's the same thing, the same element. Press apply. I'll save it as section. Let's score. Save. Good. I didn't have it before, so that's helpful. And now basically go and place it here. File. Place. And let's go section. Image. JPEG. You click on it. Obviously it's too big. So we remember it was the transform was around 30% scale. 30%. Uniform. Drag it in. Everything is already locked, so it's going to be easy to place it. So and basically we need to align with that window there, as you can see it. And it's still too big, so and it's a question of alignment now. Okay, that's there, and here you go. So that's how it's done. So now it's well placed. One thing that's still missing, so we have the volumetric view. We can add afterwards. We can work on Photoshop on adding textures, and that's what we'll do. But for the moment, one thing that's still missing in the plan is where did I actually made the cut. So, and you need to show it in the plan and also put as a caption to what kind of a drawing it is. So here on the plan, we'll just go select this. I don't need this one anymore. So what I'm going to do now is going to select that. What did you do? I'm going to use the pen tool, and it's just using basically a line. Press Shift. You can use arrows, but this seems to show what needs to be done. So basically what this is pointing towards where is the section actually looking. So we are looking towards the north-south element, and so that's what we're going to place it. We don't touch the drawing. It can stay outside of the drawing. You can Control C, Control V, and then do the transform, reflect. So it's basically mirroring. Press OK, and line up with this one. Yep, and press Shift, and oh, sorry. Again, problems on. So this one, outside of the drawing again. The drawing is untouchable, and again you can use the lines. In this case, I'm going to use this quality. I'm going to let it be thicker. It's fine. We need to show it where it's actually cutting, and then in the caption, I'll use also on a new layer. Let's put it on top of all. I'll use the A, so it's going to be section AA. So from point A to point A, and those are the general conventions. Again, select this either here on the Properties Manager, or if you have the Essential Classic view, you can also use it here. You select whatever type of font you want, and again, be aware that you don't need to make things very large. So that's black. I don't want black. Actually, I want to use, again, I want to use the same color. So I'll go use the eyedropper. You know, it's only the fill, and put it. Oops, sorry, wrong filling. Yep, in fill. Yep, there you go. And yeah, put the same thing on the other side. Control C, Control V. And I'll zoom in. And basically that's, and yeah, use this as well, the same size here. Control C, Control V. This you already have. In this case, you write plan and want 100. Yep. So the same thing, you can align these ones with that, and again you can drag these guidelines from here and line up the text, and then go to the next one, and actually keep on heading those captions, which are really important, of course. There we go. Again, line up on whatever, in this case, elevation, north elevation, and want 100. And again, align the end from there to there. You can keep on dragging and dropping these lines, and see where those elements finish. And the same thing, last but not least, section AA in this case. Control V, and in this case will be section AA. And yep, so that's basically what we needed to do for this week on the orthographic drawings. Another thing that you can start adding is dimensions, but we can leave that for the next phase, and show you how that's going to be done properly. All right, thank you very much.